Hello and welcome to Stuff by Sam. I got approved to become a professional engineer in November of 2023 and I just got the certificate. So I thought to myself, I should make a video about my experience about the application process. I think it will be fun, and I think if you are looking to become a professional engineer in Ontario, this video might be helpful to you. So let's get into it. The P.Eng, Professional Engineers Ontario, are the licensing and regulating body for professional engineers in Ontario. Every province has its own regulating body, but because I practice engineering in Ontario, I need to register through the P.Eng to become a professional engineer. The function of the P.Eng is to serve and protect public interest. So in order for you to become a professional engineer, you have to meet some set requirements by the P.Eng. Essentially, they ensure that everybody who practices the profession is qualified to, and they take it very serious. You know what, let me read out something from their website to show you how serious they take it. So once you go to their apply page and go to become a professional engineer, it says, in Canada, the professional engineer P.Eng designation represents the highest standards of engineering knowledge, experience, and professionalism in the country. Individuals may only call themselves a professional engineer or P.Eng if they possess P.Eng license from Canadian province or territory in which they reside. To become a P.Eng in Ontario, the person must be licensed by Professional Engineers Ontario. So they take it very serious. And now that you get the gist of why the P.Eng is important and being a P.Eng is important, let me get into the real reason why we're here, my experience about the application process. The first step of the entire process is to submit an application. The P.Eng has some set out requirements that you must meet in order for you to become a professional engineer. They have the age requirements, the good character requirements, academic requirements, and experience requirements. So in your application, you have to put together documents that shows that you meet these requirements. So for the age and identity, you need like a government issued ID. For your academic requirements, you need your transcripts. For your experience requirements, you will be required to write like an experience record. But in the beginning of the process, you don't do this. You fill out an application form to become a professional engineer, and on the form you write where you worked and your experience, and also on the form you declare that you have good character. That's your basic first step, and I did this in April 2022. So I completed my application April 2022 and I submitted it to the P.Eng. Now the P.Eng will go through your application and they will get back to you within 10 days to let you know if it's complete or not. So when I submitted my application, the P.Eng went through it and they found that it was not complete. Now this was on me because I submitted a transcript for my master's degree that was not an official transcript. So I reached out to my school, got my transcript and got it sorted. This took me about a month. So in June of 2023, I submitted an updated application to the P.Eng, which was complete. After I submitted this application, then the P.Eng will respond to you to let you know that your application has been completed. You can now proceed to pay your application fee. So I paid my application fee in June. And then that kickstarts an entire process of the actual assessment. For your assessment, there are two main things that the P.Eng would assess: your academic background and your work experience. And the first thing they assess is your academic background. The first prerequisite for anyone that wants to become a professional engineer is that you've completed a bachelor's degree in an engineering program. After the P.Eng verifies that, you go to the next step. The next step is split into two parts. Part A, or option A, is that your degree or your program is accredited by the CEAB. Part B is that your bachelor's program is not accredited by the CEAB. The CEAB is the Canadian Engineering Accreditation Board, and they accredit undergraduate engineering programs in Canada. So if you fall into the first group of people that their program have been accredited by the CEAB, it's pretty straightforward. The next step for you is that you write the NPPE exam. If you fall into step B, which is me, is that your program is not accredited by the CEAB. So people like me are people that studied internationally. Every international student, like if you have your bachelor's degree from outside Canada, you fall into option B. And so if you fall into category B, that is your bachelor's degree is not accredited by the CEAB, you need to drop through an extra hoop. And that's simply the P.Eng doing further assessments. So you send in your transcript, but I think now they take WES. So you send in your WES evaluation, and then the P.Eng goes through each course that you've taken to find out if you are indeed qualified to become a professional engineer. After the assessment, there are three possible outcomes. Outcome number one is that they see that you meet the requirements, and then you can go to the next step, which is write the NPPE exam. Outcome number two, you do not meet the requirements. So they recommend some technical exams to you that you need to write that will enable you to meet the requirements. Outcome number three is you don't meet the minimum requirement, and then they just fully deny you licensure. Now, I don't know how the PO does this assessment or the rubrics they use to put people into different categories, but I fell into category A, which means I didn't need to write any further exams. This process for PO to verify or to do an assessment of my education took about 3 to 4 months, I think. I submitted my transcripts to them in May, June, and then they completed the assessments in September. And this takes me to the next step, which is writing the NPPE exam. So the National Professional Practice Examination, NPPE. This exam is 110 questions for 2.5 hours. It's not a very difficult exam. Actually, it's not difficult. I think the most difficult thing about the exam is studying for it. Once you can find time to study for it, you're going to pass the exam. Most people pass the exam. Check online. There are several resources you can use to pass the exam. Just make sure you find something that allows you to study efficiently. I think I studied for the exam for about 2 weeks, and that was enough for me to pass the exam. So after PO tells you that your academics assessment is done, you just don't go straight to write the NPPE exam. The NPPE exam is only done 4 to 5 times in a year, depending on the province you are in. Right, so you need to wait for the PO to tell you when the next available slot is. In my case, PO told me when the next available slot for the exams were in October, and the next available slot was in January. So when I got the email, I applied. You have to apply within, I think, a minimum of 5 weeks before the next exam date. So I got the email to say the next available slots are in January, in October, and then I wrote the exam in January. After you write the exam, you wait a period of 2 weeks to know if you've passed or not. So I waited 2 weeks, and I think I got the email around February 14th to say that I've passed the exam. Then naturally, the next step after this is to submit your experience record. So in my case, I didn't have the required amount of years yet. So for you to become a professional engineer, you need 48 months of work experience. In my case, I didn't have the 48 months yet. My 48 months was going to be complete in April, and this was February, so I needed 2 more months. And so I communicated this to the PO that my 48 months will be complete in 2 months, and then I'll send in an application. So we're in April, exactly 1 year since I started this application process, and it's time for me to submit my experience record. You'll submit your experience record alongside a list of referees, and the referees would also fill out a particular form. I don't know what they have to put in, but it's basically to verify that you did work in these places and you do have the experience that you say you have. And they will also grade you or rate you based on your experience for the PEO, I believe. So your experience record has to check 5 boxes to ensure that you're an all-round professional. And these 5 boxes are I can't remember it at the top of my head. So application of theory, that's number 1. Number 2 is practical experience. Number 3, management of engineering. Number 4 is communication skills. And number 5 is knowledge of the social implications of engineering. So you need to write your experience record in a way that shows that you've experienced all of these categories throughout your work experience. So I did this. I wrote the experience record. I sent out the questionnaire to my referees, and they also filled what they had to fill out. I think this took me about a month, and then I submitted this back to the PO May. Now, when you send this to the PO will acknowledge recipient of it, and then they do like a preliminary review. I think they told me this would take 14 weeks. It didn't take 14 weeks. It was actually surprisingly very quick, 2 weeks or so. And the PO got back to me to say they've completed the preliminary review. It's good. I'm on to the next stage, which is the experience assessment. And they told me to take 20 weeks. And remember, this was in May. So come October, 19 weeks from when I got the response from PO to say my assessment will take 20 weeks. I sent an email to the PO to say, what's up, how's it going? Just to check in, Then I got a response to say the queue has changed. That's gone from 20 weeks to 26 weeks. So I had to wait an extra 6 weeks. And so when it was week 26, I sent a follow-up email again to say, how's it going? I'm looking to see this and whatnot. And I think this was moving to November, and then it was then I found out that the PO only approves this application on the last day of the month. So I was told I should wait until the last day of the month, and then if I don't hear anything, then I should reach back out. Lo and behold, on the 30th of November, I was confirmed to be a P.Eng, and so that's a total of 19 months, I believe, or almost 20 months that it took me from the first day I applied to the last day. So I guess my advice for you is, if you are planning, so if you know you'll be due for your 48 months, actually the PO has changed. They've changed that. They now promise that the entire process will take 6 months, and you need to apply after you have your 48 months. So you can't proactively say, I'll be due next year, let me start my application process. You can't do that anymore. Now you have to wait until you have your 48 months and then you apply. So how would I rate the entire process? I wouldn't say it was bad, but it just takes too long. The time it took for them to complete my education assessment, or the time from when I submitted, my experience record, and they verified that I was complete and it was being assessed until I got approved, it took 7-8 months, and that's just so long. Aside from that, it was straightforward. I got responses from them anytime I had a question, so not too bad, just it takes too long. But it's here, I'm glad, I'm happy, it's now behind me. I can confidently call myself a professional engineer, and it's really good, it feels good. I hope this video was helpful and you were able to take out 1 or 2 things. If you are out there looking to become a professional engineer, now you know how long it takes and what to expect from the PO, and hopefully you can use this to calibrate your expectations. Thank you for watching, and if this video was helpful, please like, share and subscribe. You can also leave a comment in the comment section to let me know what kind of videos you want me to make. Also, if you want me to make a video about passing the NPPE, let me know. I have good pointers and I can tell you how I studied and the resources I used to pass the exam. Okay, thank you. See you on the next one. Bye.